I'd like to welcome everyone. There are Title VI forms on the back table. If anyone cares to fill one of those out, they can turn it back in at the auditor's office. If you'd all stand, I'd like to ask Todd to lead us in the pledge, followed by prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Greg.
Father God, we humbly come before you, grateful for the day that we've had, hopeful for the many days in the future. Lord, tomorrow's a big day for our nation and this community. Whether you're red or blue, doesn't matter. Lord, you are in charge of all things. So we're grateful for that. We're thankful for each and every day that you bring us. Lord, I lift up all those in charge of running this county and this city. Lord, let them come to you for wisdom, and may they run things as you would have them run. Lord, we're grateful for each person that is here tonight. I ask that you protect them here and on their way homes this evening. And may we include you in our lives. We ask these things in your Son, Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Greg. October 21st minutes. View those, any changes or?
I didn't have anything.
I don't have anything to add to that 21st minutes. Approve. Second.
Third. October 25th, executive session, 3 p.m.
I didn't have any changes or additions.
I don't have anything for that one either. I move to approve.
Second.
Claims, any questions?
I didn't see anything. I had a question.
I don't have anything this time, Mark.
Motion approved.
So ahead.
Second.
Approved. Payroll for October 25th. $373,139.01. Did notice there apparently is no one working from home again.
I didn't see that.
Well,
You say there's not anybody?
there's no one reportingly working from home.
So I did that kind of last minute hurriedly and
And we can blame Christie.
yeah. I don't, because I usually at the very last thing I do is I go back through and mark. And I can mark them and send it to you. It was probably maybe.
I make a motion to approve payroll.
First up, Todd Howe.
Good evening, gentlemen. Since we met last, continue on maintenance, which on the vegetation, we're bushwhacking and still spraying. We're doing the bridge maintenance, doing a lot of grouting, some grip wrap, fix the scours. Did a couple culvert replacements. Stone shoulders for CCMG 2023-1 are complete. And the NOFA call, I sent you guys an email in regards to possibly changing from Bridge 90 to go to 106. Reason being, Tim was away at that time. Recommendations from Tim, which makes sense to me, is that Bridge 106 is twice the size of Bridge 90. It's on a major collector road. I think money, if we go after that grant, I think our money would be well served to go after that instead of Bridge 90. Bridge 90 is on more of a local road, where it would, the detour for that Bridge 106 is going to be pretty good size. Bridge 90, I think they can cut around the county pretty easy. But as far as cost, I think that Bridge 106 might be better fit to go after on that NOFA call. Apparently State Board of Accounts has come out with some documents that I need to follow with these grant projects. So I would be coming back to you if you guys are in agreement for 106 for your signatures on documents from this grant from State Board of Accounts.
What's the location on 106?
It is on 820 going out of Millhausen. It's a big stone arch bridge right before you get out of the county line. We were looking at possibly doing some repairs on that, doing some sleeving, but I don't know if that's, I think cost-wise, I think that they can. I gave them a bunch of bridge inspectors. I gave them probably 7 different prints on similar bridges, and they never was able to get back to us on a status of repairs. So after talking to them, I really feel that if we're going to go after a bridge, I think that bridge, pretty good size. Bridge 90 is small enough. We could probably do in the house with just local funds, which would save us some money. That grant kind of drives things up, your PE and everything else that's involved for the grant. That's where that's located at.
Would you try to change the alignment of that bridge or not?
I would say we'd probably try to do some kind of road.
That one's pretty funky. You got to come into it, slow way down to get in there. It's fairly narrow too.
And I don't know for sure if that is a historic bridge, but it may have to stay in place and we construct another bridge beside it. So that's information I still need to find out. But like I said, I've talked to United in regards to that. We had a meeting. They agreed to go ahead and do a cost estimate on that as well with some road alignment. But I don't know how much road alignment you can get because that road comes straight and then bam. So, but I think there'd have to be some reconstruction to make it a lot safer, than they say.
I think that's
Yeah, I think that'd be a good switch projects there.
Yeah. The last thing I have is, I had a couple calls in regards to Southwest 220. And you'll notice on the map that I gave you that the black is the original asphalt width, okay? The asphalt width in 2018 is red.
The black for your measurements there, Todd.
Well, you'll see the red on each section of road. And that is what the measurement on the ortho, which is Beacon, was back in 2018. So you'll see 21.6, 21.6, 19.2, 24.4, 22.2, 19.8. So as far as the road width, if you'll notice in 2024, which is in the blue. I think it's supposed to be in the blue, but the measurements have not changed. So the road width really did not grow much at all. Okay. I went out and measured stone shoulder, our spec for the county. As you guys know, I'm still learning some of all these specs and ordinances, but our specs for the county is to go after a 20-foot wide road, have 2-foot shoulder, and a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 side slope. Okay. So I went and measured the stone shoulder. For the most part, the average on all of that is 2 foot on both sides.
Okay.
But we did not widen the road to take somebody's property.
Did the, I guess, the structure or the roadway itself, did it change direction at all? Like, is it curved? Is it still straight?
No, it's kind of curvy all down through there. The only improvement we did as far as road widening was further up the road from this, where we had to put in something for drainage. So we did do some road widening there, but in this particular section that I'm showing you, which I think the concerns came from, we did not widen the road at all. If anything, it might have been minimal inches. But the impact was probably the 2-foot shoulders on each side of the road.
Mr. Navi? You want to speak through?
Yeah. I forgot my hearing aid. I gotta get close in time. Was you talking about Southwest 220?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Didn't widen it, but that there's some points where there's curves that don't need to be there.
curves that don't need to be there.
You know, whereas, well, yeah, there's more here than what there was. Okay, right here, they added a belly's out about 2 foot, and then the belly's back in. They tell me why. Come on, look.
I came out there today. All right. But as far as the section of road going through here, measurements didn't change.
No,
This here was about 3 inches. This right here was maybe 2 inches or 2/10, I should say. But it didn't, road width did not really grow
no.
in that aspect. The only thing that grew was the 2-foot shoulder. Okay, that is county spec that we have to follow to complete the project.
They don't have no problem with that, except for it bellied out right there for no reason.
Okay,
What do you mean it bellied out? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Extra went back in.
So you're saying the road got wide?
It's what?
You said it's wider.
Bellied out.
It's not that the road's wider, it's that the road moved. So instead of the road making that 90-degree corner and being straight, now it makes a 90-degree corner and goes 2 feet into the property, and then there's a 2-foot stone shoulder.
But we didn't remove any road, right?
no,
We ever gone through and cut road out?
No, but
So then how does the road move?
on the other side of that, well, after the grass grew over for the last 15 years, so it looks like it ain't there anymore. But if you dig down, there's stone underneath of the grass.
Well, stone isn't the shoulder. The road, the pavement is the shoulder. I mean, the road is the pavement, not the stone.
Well, the road deteriorated on all over the place to where there wasn't actually any road left. It was just black rocks.
that's why we put that in on the grant to repay that. Okay, to do some repair. So we repaired the road. Requirement from the county, we're supposed to put a 2-foot shoulder on each side.
How long is the section of road that you're saying has a belly on it? Or that would have moved?
20 feet. It's not that big a deal, but every time they pave the road, they do it again. It just keeps, now there's a curve there. Years ago, there was no curve there.
Where's the curve that's there that's not supposed to be on the picture?
Can you show me?
He's talking right there in front of the pond.
Before the curve is a curve?
Yeah.
Do we know what the easement is in that area?
I know where the surveyor's peg is here.
Right, but the county owns and has easements to certain amounts of property from the center line of the road.
On each side of the surveyor's peg.
So the question is, what is our easement? What is it from the surveyor's peg to middle road? How much does the county have the ability to run culvert ditches, utilities, those things in?
And the apparent right of way.
Okay, so how do we determine the apparent right of way?
Apparent right of way is as you're driving down the road, if that road is sloped,
Yeah.
where it's been ditched there forever, that's pretty much the apparent right of way.
Mr. Nabi, can you come here real quick? I've got a question. Can you come here? If you look here on this 2024 section, there's this area here that looks like gravel to me.
Yeah.
And I came down and I drove it, and this looks a little different from when I drove it early. Is this the area that you were saying that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like this gravel area right here.
Yes, and there is all this gravel underneath there. There used to be a gravel road there. People used to slide around there. They used to fly out like 6 or 8 feet.
Okay. Because it looked like that was the same area that just had the stone shoulder on it. It didn't, from my view of it, now, I know I've driven this road before, but it's not one that I've been frequently, so I can't compare it to what it looked like in my mind. But it looked like that stone shoulder was there in that same area with that gravel. Is that accurate? Okay.
I thought it was farm years ago because last year when I was filling that up, I found a broken piece of a plow. So I don't know what road then.
So what resolution are you asking of the commissioner, Mr. Nubby? What is it that you're requesting that we do?
I leave it up to you because I'd like to see some good faith attempt to do something, but oh, you probably won't want to do what I do. Take that back up and put it on the other side where it owns. Because there's a lack of road on the west side, and there's excess road on the east side. And it's just not right, because it's like, well, let's put a little curve here, and then we'll go through the real curve. But I know y'all got bigger problems than that. I wasn't expecting a whole lot.
I went back even on to the 2016 for Beacon, if you guys want. I wanted to go back a little bit further and see what it looked like 8 years ago as well. Yeah.
He's got the same thing. Yeah, let's see. Well, no, yeah.
You know, when that 24 area property was taken. Should have been March.
Should have been pre-leave.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been,
And we just did the stone last week. So the stone is,
this is not, no, this is not stone.
right, no, that's what I'm saying. There is evidently stone there prior to us landing stone on. At least that's what.
Mr. Nobby's got a picture, if you want to look at it, I think might better explain what you're trying to figure out.
Is it one that you sent me before, or is it one predates?
Yeah, so I've got several pictures.
Yeah.
Straight line where the road stops, to where the road stops, and all that is, it's not a straight line.
Right, but we don't know when that road stopped being a straight. Did it stop being a straight line 40 years ago? Did it stop being a straight line?
It was straight before it made it, because I watched the paint and it was dumping rock out like this wide, and it almost went right over the top of my shoe, and I kept down the third.
But the measurements we have said the road didn't get any wider. We didn't pave it wider,
Because they didn't put any on the other side, they put it on this side.
but we didn't take anything from the other side.
Didn't take it, it was already going, it was eroded.
Chad, do you have any advice on this conversation?
No, like I said, I went out there and looked at it today. I thought they did a good job paving. I thought they did a good job on the stone shoulder.
It looks beautiful. If you don't know what I know, you think it's wonderful.
According to this property line, the center line is side of the road.
Chad?
Yeah, so I mean, I was trying to jot down notes and Todd was talking, but if I understood correctly, the distance from center to edge didn't change pre and post shoulder graveling. What is that distance? What is center to shoulder?
He didn't do a center to shoulder measurement.
22 foot wide, about a day, outside stones from shoulder to shoulder, is 22 foot. We have a 30-foot easement,
Okay,
so it's 15 foot from the center. Right now, it's 11 foot from the center.
so I mean,
We still have,
we're within our right of way to maintain, and obviously part of your job is road maintenance. And I mean, there's a statutory scheme that talks about your ability to construct and repair and maintain and improve existing roadways within your right of ways. We're within our right of way, then legally speaking, we're very unique to me. So from that perspective, we're within our rights.
Was this the section of road that when we repaved it had the drop offs? That's why we stone shouldered it?
As I've mentioned before, I know that there's a lot of calling on 500, all the other roads, have stone edges. Okay. So we can't really mill because there's not enough road base to mill that down. So we just wedge it, we pave it. There are drop offs. So anything that's got more than a 2-inch drop off, we do the stone shoulder off.
So we've added the stone shoulder in this case for safety to remove the drop off on the edge of the road.
That's correct.
So I don't have any thought that we need to remove the stone shoulder because then we just have to drop.
There's no stone there.
But we couldn't fill that in because
Oh, if you can't fill it in, then it's okay to leave it. I don't.
it's gonna plug up a culvert.
Is that the picture you sent from Southwest 60?
But it's still, won't hurt a wheel if it falls off in that, because you can't fix it. That's kind of in terminology I'm looking at. I don't mean to be hard out.
Are you looking at the picture that you sent me that's from Southwest 60?
Yes.
No, that's not the picture.
You see some of them go through that. That's right down from me.
So you've only sent me 2 pictures.
Years ago, that culvert was never there because the driveway was not there.
Right, but we can't plug the culvert either.
Right.
Right at a
The
drive.
story is, the stone shoulders protect the vehicle if the wheel falls off. How's it gonna get protected from this?
Well, the protection is that we do it every single place that we possibly can. The places we can, we don't. But it doesn't mean we just don't do it at all. We can't do it everywhere. But we can get 95% of it done and don't do 5%. We certainly want to do 95%.
We had issues last year where vehicles would get off the side of the road. And I know of at least one where the vehicle ended up, what was it, 100 yards out in the cornfield. And so that was the reason that we started adding those stone shoulders, was a safety element to it. Because we wanted to try to eliminate the concern of vehicles having their tire get sucked down and they lose control, run off and hit a tree, hit a house, whatever it may be. And also it provided on that blacktop, that new blacktop at night, it provided a visual reference for where the side of the road was, so that you could actually see it. We talked about striping some of those roads, And the cost, quite frankly, was prohibitive with how much it costs to go out and strike those areas. So as far as a safety concern, that's the gap that we're trying to fill here, where somebody doesn't slam into one of your trees or end up in the pond because they're going too fast and they get sucked down into your yard somewhere.
Okay, well, I'm willing to let this go for now so you guys can get other business done.
You gentlemen have anything for me?
No, sir. Thank you. Did you, I know we talked last week, and today's only Monday, so I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look at what budget items you might be able to save right now for the Baker Tilly financial review that you'd be using in 2025 in your restricted fund.
Couple things right offhand would be TCMG, stone shoulders, any kind of repairs to the roadway would be trying to come out of there.
If you can get a list of those things for me so that Baker Tilly can go ahead and add some of those things, because in their financial review, it shows the highway departments in the red by a healthy margin. And a lot of that is because it's all coming out of your unrestricted fund versus your restricted, which you can use for a lot of those other projects. And so you can actually go in and show what you're going to be using some of those restricted funds for. Then they can add it into their financial analysis to do some projections going out.
Yeah, see if we can, might take us a little bit to do that.
Yep. And this doesn't have to be an immediate turnaround. They're looking at here in the next couple of weeks, trying to get the final draft of the financial review done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get something put together, Tim, and I see what we can't do as far as get a close estimate anyhow.
Yep. I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you,
Todd.
Joe.
Sheriff?
Good evening. So about 3 months ago, Mark and Danny Peters brought these two gentlemen, Todd Rogers and David Shaw, from Enterprise to us in regards to the program of leasing our vehicles. We've had several meetings. We worked through some issues. Chad has reviewed the contract. I don't want to speak for Chad. I think he had heartburn on a couple of issues, but we worked through those. So I believe this program probably has some value, probably some merit to it. I'm going to step out of the way and let David give a short presentation about what the program exists. I do have a PowerPoint put together. I didn't know if there was a way that I could present something or handouts with me for you guys.
Thank you.
One second, we get this pulled up on the. First off, just want to say thank you guys for letting me come by here, present what, what we've been working on for the last 2 months, showing you how we've helped some other counties and how we want to help the County of Decatur Police Department get some newer, safer vehicles while saving you guys a little bit of money as well. Like Sheriff Bill mentioned, I want to thank Danny Peters for he kind of started this whole thing, agreed to meet with me back in July 23rd, ended up bringing Mark along. The last 4 months, we've taken an in-depth look at your guys' fleet, how you guys are managing those fleet of vehicles. I really want to look at what you're spending on your fleet and how we can stretch your guys' dollars. Right now, we know your budget is currently around 250,000 for vehicles. So what I want to do is walk you through a market value finance to show you what that can do for the county. Really excited to show you what we've been putting together and how this is going to help the Gator County. I want to go to the second sheet there. Just want to start off with a few references. Maybe you know some people over there. We work with a little over 30 different cities and counties throughout the state. We've taken a look at them, sat down with them, and said, what are your goals and objectives with your fleet. What do you want your fleet to look like? We've been able to put together a proactive, customized fleet plan, go ahead and get tailored to their needs and get done what they want done. So starting off with that, if you want to flip to the next slide, it'll show you all the vehicles that are currently in rotation for the police department. We sat down with Eric and Bill, and this is the sheet that they provided saying, in the next 4 years, this is the process that we want to follow. These are the vehicles that we want to cycle out of year by year. So you'll see in the green, 2025, we're replacing, they want to cycle out of those 5 vehicles and following on down through 2026, 2027, and 2028. Those dollar amounts on the right side there is what we would call the fair market value on a conservative basis. If we took over those vehicles and sold those, what we think we would get out of them. Moving on to the next slide. This is like our menu pricing, showing the 4 different vehicle types that we're going to be looking at. I'm going to walk you through model, trim level, the different quantity. These are all going to be on 4-year terms, estimated about 25,000 miles a year, getting you out of these vehicles at 100,000 miles. You'll see you've got your monthly lease cost, take that times 12, your annual cost per unit there. In the first year, I just had this labeled as the first year because they're looking at doing 2 police utility interceptors and then 3 Durangos. So that's the reason those only have the annual cost by quantity there. What we want to do, and again, I'll touch on this on the next slide, is right, instead of paying cash for these vehicles, writing them down to a residual. So you'll see the balance at the end of term per unit is a dollar amount there. The estimated resale per unit. And then obviously, let's say for line 1, the Tahoes, at the end of 4 years, we're going to sell those for $17,000. The balance at the end is a little over $10,000. So the rest of that, the difference, will be equity coming back into the county. You could either roll those into the next vehicle or just use those in a different area. And again, this walks through each 4 vehicle that we're looking at.
I just want to say something real quick, just if I can. I want to add a little color to this, the why. Why do counties do this? I know we said earlier, it's a leasing program. We use the term leases for tax purposes, especially on the commercial side. Really what we're doing in the government space, what we found, and I've been doing this for 20 years now, what we found is because of the way that government entities, counties, municipalities are able to purchase vehicles, right? You guys get a very good buy on a vehicle, invoice less, pretty big incentives until COVID came along and those incentives went away. You're able to buy the vehicle as low as anyone can. You drive lower miles, right? And then at the end of a certain period of time, that vehicle still has a lot of value. So what we're talking with the sheriff, we know getting out of those vehicles every 4 years, 100,000 miles is what they would like to do, or what they've been trying to do is get on that type of cycle. So the idea there is instead of just paying cash for those vehicles, if we know that in 4 years we're going to get out of that vehicle, why not just pay for the portion of the vehicle we're going to use, which is why we write it down to a residual, right? And then on the back end, when we sell that vehicle, any equity comes back to the county. But what it allows a county to do or a city to do is replace vehicles quicker and conserve cash flow that can be used in other areas, right? So whether that's in the sheriff department, whether that's, road construction, whatever it might be, that's why counties and municipalities, counties and cities like using this program, some of the names that are on there. So that's what we did is we looked at, okay, if your budget is $250,000 for cash that you're going to buy these 5 vehicles, what would that look like if we just use the market value finance, knowing that you're going to get out of that vehicle in 4 years? So that's the why behind it and why a lot of, plus they then let us sell these vehicles on the back end for them. We wanted to make sure we take it to pretty much a statewide bid process where it goes online and we get we put hands on the vehicles, we put a value on the vehicle. So it's not just going to auction we really drive resale for you all on the back end as well and really maximize that cash flow. So we can take that depreciation piece and really, instead of spending $50,000 per vehicle, spending $20,000 over when you look at it all in over a 4-year period.
So one question I have is what happens when it doesn't sell on the back end for what you estimate? What it sells under?
Great.
So you say 15 and it goes for what?
Great question. In that case, you would owe the difference, right? Now, this is a fleet management program. So that's why I want to make sure we clarify it's not just leasing. So we're going to assign a client strategy manager to you. And what that person does is we'll sit down 3 times a year, with the county, with, with everyone involved, to really look at each one of those vehicles. Because we can at times speed up depreciation. What you're seeing here is we're building, how much equity we're building on the back end there? I mean,
Around 10.
about $10,000 in equity. So that vehicle would really have to do a lot more miles. And we're gonna be looking at that every year. What tends to happen is not so much that you end up being upside down. I'm going to say, in my 20 years, I've not had a county or a city vehicle that they turn back in and we have able to get it above that reduced book value. What we do see though, is there are times where we see the market for used vehicles increase or take a sudden spike. And we'll come in and tell you, hey, let's go ahead and get out of this vehicle. This is the perfect time to kind of think about that. Because we know hopefully in the next couple of years, incentives will start to come back in the government space. So there may be a time in 2 years, not 4 years, where we come and say, hey, by looking at this, we can get you out of this vehicle, get you into a new vehicle 2 years sooner, and it costs the county less money. So we'll be looking at that ongoing consultation for you as we move through this. So it's not just, we don't want to just quote unquote lease you 5 vehicles and talk to you in a year, right? We want to start with the sheriff's department, show the value we can bring there, and then meet with the other departments in the county to kind of institute a similar program to help them be able to utilize the same type of money.
Between the vehicles that you have listed here, do some of them hold their value better when we get to that trade-in time?
That's a great question. So we look at that every year. We're looking at those type of things. And we're also looking at every year when we come out, hey, maybe we shouldn't do, we're looking at a lowest cent per mile. So in this case, I think we're talking Durango Tahoe, is that right?
Yeah, Tahoe's, Durangos.
So we look at each of those types of vehicles every single year, and we'll come to the county and say, hey, based on the data we have, we would recommend you go to this vehicle because it's going to operate a lowest cent per mile, which includes like the resale back end. So you'll continue to get that.
I've heard some police departments and sheriff departments occasionally have crashed vehicles. Just heard that.
Crazy.
Every once in a while. How does that process work going forward?
Nothing changes as far as that process is concerned, what you're doing currently. Nothing would change there. Oh, you do it through your insurance and everything you make there. So I just want to kind of put some color around the why other counties and cities look at this.
We've already kind of hit the open-ended leasing model. Basically, what you're looking at, take a $42,000 vehicle, and on the right side, you're going to go ahead and write it all the way down to 0. This is if you're using a traditional dealer lease. Obviously, you're going to have your higher monthly principal. What we're telling you to do, again, if you know obviously the sheriff's department, they're already working towards that cycle point, getting out of the vehicle earlier, when they have some life. But we're taking a look at the left side. Let's take this $42,000 vehicle, go ahead and write it down to a $10,000 principal. Obviously, it's going to lower your monthly payment. And we're saying, hey, if we're proactive, we're buying the right vehicle, we're selling it to the right buyer. At the end of 4 years, we're going to sell it for $22,500. Obviously, you take the $22,500, pay off that $10,000 residual, you got $12,500 in equity that you can roll over into the next vehicle, or again, take that cash and put it back in the account. This is the whole cycle of getting out of vehicles, paying for the portion that you're going to. If you see the benefit of getting out of these vehicles before depreciation all the way sets in, before your maintenance fuel costs start to go up, those are right cycles. Pinpointing the right time to get.
That's just an illustration. That's not the exact vehicle you are getting. That's just kind of illustrate what we're going to show you. So now when we put that into action, that next page will kind of lay out what is my annual cost going to be paying for these 5 vehicles cash versus my first year. And then obviously you're going to take out the equity from selling the older vehicles as well. That counts against it as well. So you can see in that last page basically it's breaking down. And we also looked at it if you kept the same equipment on it versus just swapping out that equipment. So it gives you 2 different scenarios. Again, it's entirely up to the county on what you do. Our job is to come in, look at the data we have, make the best recommendation based on what we're seeing, and then the choice is still up to you all. So it's your decision. It's still your fleet. We just want to be that fleet partner that can help you on a proactive basis.
And these are new vehicles covered by drivetrain warranties, things like that would be standard on a new vehicle.
Absolutely. There's nothing changes. We're just going to order it directly from the manufacturer, which helps cut out some of the middlemen.
Okay, so the total cost that you have on looks like the 4th page here.
Yep.
67,312. That is for 2025.
So if you're looking at the menu pricing or the estimated budget, 2025 on the top left-hand side, you'll see that. I only put those two numbers up just to show you the first year. If you go 2 pages after that, you'll see the full graph where it has replacements, total lease payments. That matches up to year one. Because the first year they want to do 3 Durangos, 2 Explorers. And that just walks you through. So year one, we want to replace 5 vehicles. So you're going to have 5 total on lease. Go to the next column, your lease payment, 67,312. Now on the upfit, it was about $12,000 to $14,000 an upfit on these vehicles. If it's anything over 10,000, we do require 50% down. So that's where you'll see the upfit down payment. Now the next column, the equity, 34,000. We're saying if we take those 5 vehicles that we're going to replace on a conservative basis, again, that's what we think we could get for them. Now, if you pay off your down payment with that equity we sold those vehicles for it, you have a little over $3,000 left. And again, keeping the money into the fleet, take that $3,000, roll it over to your lease payments, and that's where you'll see your first year lease budget at $64,237.
So then you can see it for 21 vehicles, we did the same thing following year, 5 more to replace, now you have 10 total leased. So on, so that by the end of year 4, you have all 21 of the sheriff's vehicles are being set up on this type of program. And then you can see if you look at it, 4-year window, so your 4 year spend for the quote unquote lease payments, $588,857 versus if we were to go out and buy 21 vehicles with cash over the next 4 years, it's about a little over $1 million. So that's taking into account, taking back out the equity grant for some. So then you can see that just the difference over that 4-year period, cash flow that you'll have back into the county is in terms of the form of savings that we put on here. That's really the cash that you have that you're not using from $250,000 that you use elsewhere.
So just to be clear, I'm understanding this, that the way you have it written here, the cash budget full install, that number for year one, the 289,318, that's if we went and bought the same 3 Durangos and the same 3 Explorers that are in the lease.
Yeah.
Okay. And so instead of spending the 289,000, you'd be spending 67,000 in the lease agreement. Okay. And so then the grand total for what you have here, 1,043,118,000 if we were to buy these same vehicles over this time period versus the $454,261 under the lease payment.
Or the lease has to be out with the
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just the
I got you. Yeah.
difference between the numbers.
Yep. Okay.
So once we're full lease, it saves us about $137,000. Staying on that same $240,000, which in 4 years, that 240, was it 240 years ago?
Right, exactly.
$200.
You'll max out really at that 229, well, 21 vehicles are on lease, next year 21, so it's really gonna flatten out right there. Obviously.
We saw the opportunity this year to be able to start with the sheriff's department. We'd like to look at all the departments, right? Where there's an opportunity because the sheriff's going to drive the most miles, right? So if it's worse in the sheriff department, start thinking about what you can do with the other departments. If they're driving 5, 6, 7,000 miles, you have a much higher resale that you can maximize. We can really shrink that depreciation budget. And that's why the pay to first pay or the second pay, you should say that should be in different counties and the cities that we're working with. That's why they utilized this program.
It's on 5 years, you haven't had the whole.
Right. And holding the trend, you're $140,000 outfitted, less than what would be a full cash flow.
And then after that, just a few testimonials, other cities and counties that provide on our behalf. One was Danville, and then City of Lebanon.
Even if we had a situation where it was under equity, but you guys built that in there, even under the low end, it would have to be $137,000 a year. You could eat all 5 vehicles,
And the
trade it,
reality-
still be better on it.
And the reality is what we're trying to show is what we're trying to show folks. A lot of times, especially on the lower miles vehicle, you can buy and hold those for 10 years. We're saying, I can show you it's the same cost to drive 2 new vehicles over the same period of time. So it's great that we can show a savings or show some cash flow back to the county if we use elsewhere. Not to mention that then we start factoring in your soft dollar costs, right? Now you don't have vehicles down as much. Getting into those, they're newer vehicles, they feel confident getting in those vehicles, the image that those vehicles, that can all be important to a county or to a city, you know. But we don't put a dollar figure on that. That's
It all seems to make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now, we have 4 vehicles in our fleet that are already over 100,000. One, I would say, in a month is probably going to be over 100,000. Another one that isn't far behind. Sheriff, what are your maintenance issues looking like on some of your vehicles these days?
We've been pretty fortunate recently. We haven't had any major expenses. The other part to this I really like is they will agree to continue to use our upfitter. So that's good continuity of outfitting our cars. Again, we're not going to be purchasing new dash cams, new radios, new radars. We're just going to be moving that equipment. So there's no additional cost for that concerned either. So I had previously sent you a copy of the contract and also the amended contract for your review. But yeah, I guess right now we're asking for your approval to move forward.
The numbers make sense to me. We're saving a decent amount of money over these terms for these vehicles.
That's how sheriff's departments work to try to stop these delays. I mean, the delays will be reduced too, right? Order vehicles wait 8 or 9 months. That won't happen with you
It
guys.
should not. I mean, that did happen for us during COVID, obviously. But yes, so we still had other avenues.
Great.
Yeah, we had other avenues that we can go to at least find vehicles. So more switch it up on the fly when we had to go to a different manufacturer or find another sheriff's department that didn't need it. So we have all those resources for you. And the idea, to your point, is to take a lot of that administrative time off the sheriff's plate, off all the folks, so that you guys can focus on, you know, taking care of the community. Some of the people that are just necessary to get the job done.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
No, concur. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
So if you want to go ahead and send that contract later tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, afterwards, David, if you want to walk him through this. Once it gets signed and that done, or you take it with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Step fall down.
Yep.
Okay. Guys want me to present over here?
Sure.
So you guys obviously seen the contract that is to get started. That was brought 3 weeks ago, maybe, I want to say. And then, so I know Jeremy didn't do Chad attention. Chad thought it should be signed all together, and then moving forward, getting Jeremy with the signed contracts. So, or if there's any signing to it forward, so change orders or things like that, I guess there shouldn't be any additional contracts.
Yeah, this was the same project we heard a couple weeks ago about getting turf on the diamonds.
Yeah.
And there were just some additions and some edifications that Chad wanted to see.
Sure.
So
And it's just the phase 1 stuff, right?
Phase 1, right, is getting the turf on the front floor that we had to, so, and like I said, like Jeremy said, Chad did read through the contract and we were able to work with after to get those changes adjusted.
and I think they're gonna be able to hit their deadline plus.
Yeah, so the deadline, I think, is gonna be, I mean, obviously, we may not, but who knows with the weather. I mean, obviously, if it freezes, we gotta wait till it falls again before we really do anything. Just for reference, North Vernon just did their work in their complex. It started in August and they're already down. They played ball last weekend off. So, I mean, obviously, ideally, this kind of thing could take 5 days, 45, 60 days with the right weather. We're talking 5 months from now, so deadline. So I don't see any.
5 of the worst months to work in the dirt guys.
I don't put it out there, now it's gonna happen.
Here's one thing I want to say is talking with you, Trip, that was one of my concerns. Like, say something does happen and it's frozen the rest of the time. They understand
Obviously, 45 days, once it does thaw, isn't that long, they would work with us in rescheduling those tournaments for later date, the ones that are in April already scheduled. So I'm meeting with them again next week to, I mean, obviously, been complete discussion with them the whole time. I'm meeting with those guys again next week in North Vernon to actually go to our calendars, solidify more dates, making sure we're not interfering with our past affair. We don't want to have that nightmare out there at the time.
Make a motion to approve the overall contract and get those done.
I second.
I would concur. Good luck.
Any luck on estimates for the potential possible pickleball courts?
I will have those to you Friday. With the company and with brand shooting numbers or so. Conversation. One thing I did just want to leave with you guys real quick. Something to consider. I know we talked about that. I'll leave with you, Tony. That's none of them. Just some numbers. The positive, since we're doing work now on the floor, you get the back for them. The additional residual return on investment will be plus income to the county. I mean, I think it makes sense if we can get a way to do it. So.
On the plate of projects to do?
Anyway, we won't go into all that, so not right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I might as well stay up here.
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
that's all on there. Yeah, so the next one is, I brought Steve Freeman with me, so Steve, if I need you, I want you to hop on in, so, it is the Peace Pole, at the courthouse here, so right now, and one day or so, since I'm president of Rotary, there is a Peace Pole initiative that's going on around the world, right? So basically, these poles have different languages on them. We place them in different spots. Right now, we actually already have one that was paid for. Am I allowed to say we paid for it?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
No, probably not.
probably not.
I say the club.
The club paid for it. Okay, yeah. So they were paid for by somebody in the club to place out there, right? And we worked with Teresa to get it placed out at Rebecca Park in a really good spot. So, but we had the club actually purchased two. We'll step out and purchase them. So the idea was possibly to put one here at the courthouse as well on the southeast corner of the lawn. And I'll just read this real quick out here. So this is just a peaceful project that's, like I said, in the world. So in the languages of the country where it's placed, it usually displays 3 to 7 additional languages meaningful to the host site. The message is referred to as an affirmation of peace, and its placement furthers Rotary's goal of building a culture of peace throughout the world. Peace poles are intended to inspire unity among people of all cultures, ethnicities, and backgrounds. We recommend a peace pole ceremony to accompany the planting of each pole, and the ceremony can be held annually. Many prefer International Day of Peace, September 21st, for each occasion. The message, "May peace prevail on earth," was authorized by the late, and it says Mashiach Goi of Japan, after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It is now International Message of Peace for over 250,000 poles in every country in the world, dedicated as monuments to peace. So that's kind of just why they started after, I guess, right there. See if you can add, so maybe like after the bombings at Hiroshima is when these were brought about, right? Or was it just the idea of that, Steve?
That's when the phrase, may peace be on earth.
Yeah, so well, may peace prevail, right? On earth is when that saying was brought forth. And that's what it says in English on these poles. So I guess the ask is are we able to add it, put the additional one on the courthouse square here somewhere? One thing I do know is if there's Rotarians that travel everywhere, they're gonna stop in Decatur County to see these one like they're traveling through. So to kind of add a little bit of sort of add to our tourism, stopping in the county to see different things. And I think the southeast corner is just a suggestion because that's the best photo op. So we were stopping to take a picture. With the one we did out of Rebecca Park, obviously the pole stands about 5 feet tall, which that can vary. It's the pole, right? We can get it out of the box.
Yeah, so it's going to stand 6 feet tall, and then Rick Kramer and Jared Hasselbring made the plaque that'll sit next to it, to the left or right, and it explains what it is, and that it was donated by the Rotary Club.
Great idea.
Show a picture.
Yeah, okay, go check them.
It was set today.
Oh, I said that. Good. We weren't sure what was going to be done there.
What it looks like.
I was looking at the website to.
We chose the area by the splash pad inside the inclusion park. We thought it would get a lot of visibility there.
We're allowed to put 3 different languages on it. So obviously English is number 1, and we were able to put Japanese, Japanese, Spanish, and Indonesian, which represents our community.
Great idea. I think it's a good message.
I don't have an issue with it. Where exactly? Kind of towards the pavilion was?
I mean, ideally, you don't want to just put it in the middle of the yard to go around, I would think. Is there any way, did you see anything where we could put it where it's kind of landscape, an area? Put it?
The suggestion was in the southeast corner, because if you take a picture of the pole, you can get a picture of the tree behind it.
I think I think it was the site, there's a, that's where the pole was, I don't know if there's a buffalo.
It's in hiding.
Is he coming back?
So we've got memorials in both corners. So, one kind of separate that from that.
I don't think you put it on.
That's what I'm saying, like, both of those corners got those, so bring it this way, I don't know.
More towards west, I guess. North of it.
Thinking that here,
Yeah.
inside that would be fine.
Yeah.
That is satisfactory.
Okay, so that's what we'll. You're trying to do something different. Right.
Yeah, that's elevated.
So we.
What?
I don't.
Yeah. That's not much.
You usually line that side. That's. I think that's in this area. Yeah, right in the middle. A little bit of the paint coming out of it. Right around the sidewalk. Every event. But open that road, we should put like a sidewalk, I think, right in the middle. Away from, right.
Really work to get it set the pin. Put it in the ground.
Yeah. Just figure out a spot.
Check. 811 involved in the park department meetings. Yeah, hey, Teresa.
Oh,
Can
sorry.
Jody and the guys put it in? Or just the one here on the square?
I think.
Just call it.
We did. We did before we put it in where we did.
They won't look in.
Now, Jody wants to get that. I mean, they know better. So they don't.
Yeah, I think I've been this.
It didn't take them very long. to put it in.
I like to expect the fall festival or any of that stuff taken.
Not you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Be good one.
Chad, up next is the biosolids ordinance.
Yeah, a while back, you guys asked me to look into the growing industrialized biosolid production that's starting to happen and growing link from that to the forever chemicals and the concerns, especially of the multiple sourcing out of county with no idea of what being created and brought in. So what I presented is ordinance that would pivot that activity. The city's wastewater does partake in this on a small scale. They are exempt because they're in county and it's a known situation and monitored within ourselves. So they would be exempt under this proposal, but it would prohibit the blending and the outsourcing from the industrialized side of this. It's always existed in wastewater plants, but now it is growing trend to becoming a large scale manufacturing problem, and it is showing links to greater problems in the communities of the safety of the ground and the water. So this would be the first presentation today, be available for inspection, and then we'll come up for second reading passage at the next.
So it's for the prevention or spreading of any biosolids from outside our county on Decatur County soils. In a nutshell. In-house or in Decatur County, city of Greensburg's exempt.
Can you read in there the definition of biosolids? I think that's been a concern with some of the agricultural.
Biosolids are defined as processed human or other waste processed and or produced by utility or other treatment plants, wherein the liquids are separated from the solids and then physically and or chemically treated to produce a semi-solid, which is also interchangeably referred to as sewage sludge.
I had some questions whether that was agriculture or horse, chicken, and all that stuff.
That is
Wanted to make sure they were completely
definition.
assured that human waste, that the industrial process goes through the same wastewater treatment. Get a lot of.
Right. So is there something in the ordinance that somebody from out of county could go through and get permission, bring it into the county, or is that just prohibit everything?
It's prohibiting. There is no written exception in the ordinance as is right now.
Violation of the ordinance will be punished by $5,000 per day.
There's no avenue in which people can come in.
Get pre-approved to come in.
We don't want them.
Cost to clean this up is starting to become more apparent across the country. It's in the billions of dollars.
Right.
And it's being laid on the feet of the local government to do so. So taking every possible step we can to prevent that from coming from outside.
And with a company that's doing this on our doorstep, we want to make sure that.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was anything in there to be able to get kind of pre-approval. Is somebody testing ours? Do we know if ours is testing before it goes on the ground?
So the PFOS and PFOS levels are just now being established for the biosolid stuff, and the testing is not being done yet.
I was going to say, I'm unaware of any testing that's being done by
But
the
with-
city at this point.
With the industry that we have, like, so our number one potential contributor is we know the majority of our industry and what they're utilizing and where the chemicals are in that.
Right.
So the outside, we don't know, because it could come from New Mexico and get shipped out as well. We don't know what that is. Do the best with what we have.
And for further clarification, I don't truly believe we would be allowed to regulate Greensburg wastewater. They operate with certain IDEM approvals, and there's a process, and they exist before the ordinance, so I don't believe grandfather them in and prohibit their use. So we're focusing on preventing the future, but we can't, with IDEMs involved, we can't regulate somebody that's already regulated.
So set this for second reading at the next meeting.
Our next meeting is November.
Now,
And pass this to Janet so she can hold it and not lose it. Our time on. Okay, on Friday, we put out a notification for request for proposals for fairgrounds improvements. The BOT process. We received 2 of those. One from Scott Barnes Construction and the other from Ferguson Construction. Just got them printed out today, and you guys, all of us will review those and we'll discuss and make a decision at our next meeting. You have 2 proposals. Both are working with Greg Marks. Next thing, we have Lake Santee Board Appointment. We have to reappoint someone because somebody resigned and moved, is that right? How went down? Okay, yeah, Greg Coffin has resigned. He was the guy we appointed. So they're suggesting we approve Stephen Yost as their representative. Lake Santee Regional Waste and Water. That's one of the commissioners have to make. So.
I'll make that motion.
Sign on the name.
Spell that last name, please.
Why? OST.
You want me to give Brian Robbins an update?
So I'm getting this out.
Brian Robbins said he couldn't be here tonight, but he sent me an update from the EDC. The update is Ready 2.0 projects are beginning to be approved for funding for the region. We're still awaiting decisions for some of the Lilly funding. Lilly gave Ready additional funding for specific areas. Overall, we're closing up Ready 1.0 projects and shifting to Ready 2.0 projects. There's no speculation as to if or when there will be a Ready 3.0 phase. Much will be decided tomorrow. The board approved a revolving loan to MySari, and they enjoyed the ribbon cutting last Friday for the expansion. She had an individual, she had the former governor of Central Java and Indonesian presidential candidate at that ribbon cutting. So they're able to build additional connections with that country through ag trade. Currently, they're working with Baker and Tilly for a financial analysis for the Cobia project. Much of the work that the EDC did with Purdue will apply to this project as well. But they are not sure how much will be ready by Wednesday, which is the meeting later this week, due to some late information they received. If there's anything else that you'd like to see or any other questions, feel free to reach out to him about the project, local ag, or anything else.
Okay. We have our annual extension contract with Purdue University for the extension services out there. Janet, you remember this year it's $127,510.
That sounds correct. 127.
127,510. Remember what it was last year by chance? Has gone up much, Danny?
It has gone up.
It went up, it goes up about 5%. That's just Purdue.
I'd say we're getting our money's worth. So need a motion to accept that.
I second.
Anything else I missed? Anything else? And things still going smooth? Good. Derek, what's the scoop on the roof?
Sorry, what?
Your roof repairs, are they getting
No,
close?
I forwarded you an email this morning. Come here Thursday and Friday to,
Anybody in here?
Hey, Mark, just,
Yeah.
the, big AC units, I think Walkie showed all them.
Set.
I think they tested them last week, so I think the 7 or 8 big ones, I think they might have those done.
Nothing else, I entertain a motion.